Hey folks, Todd here. Today we're going to install the Gator EFX from RealTruck on this 2024 and up body style Toyota Tacoma. The tools we'll be using for this installation are a ratchet with a 1/2-inch socket and a pair of scissors. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is install our bulkhead seal right across the top of the bulkhead. Now this is the seal as it comes out of the kit. I've already kind of opened it up and cut it loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by lining it up and getting this corner. I'm going to cut the corner off to get it straight with the bed cap. And then I'm going to go ahead and peel back a few inches of the adhesive protector. I'm going to push this all the way up against the bed cap. And bear down. Now as I go, I'm going to kind of make it do a turn and then follow the lines of the factory bulkhead. All right, when we get over to the other side, we're going to follow the line over here as well. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn, make that turn this way, and then again, just kind of cut it into place against the other bed cap. All right, now we can focus on the rails. Okay, now if you have your sliding tie-down cleats in your deck rail system, those are going to need to come out first. If you know how to pull those out, basically you twist until it comes down to the end, push in, pull out, twist, and it will come right out of the deck rail system. You're going to set that to the side. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to be installing our adapter rail that's going to go right up against your deck rail system. Before we install our adapter rail, we'll need to first pull our end plugs out. In our kit, we're going to have what's called a T-nut. So you've got a threaded hole that's in here, and then you got kind of a shape of a T. It's going to slide in like so, and we're going to put 3 of them in here. You can go from the other side as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and put all 3 of them in just like that. What they're going to do is these are going to be lining up to these round holes in our adapter rail. Let's go ahead and slide this guy down into place about here. Let's slide the next one in, and then the front one. All right, next what I'm going to do is go ahead and lift up the adapter rail and set it up on top of the bed cap. Now, we're going to have a little cutout in the adapter rail at the very back. This is how you can tell if it's driver's side or passenger side, because it's going to match the pattern that's up on top of your bed cap. So we're going to set it up on top of the bed cap and slide it all the way up until it hits the bulkhead. And then we're going to make sure that we line up these T-nuts behind the smaller holes. Next in your kit, you're going to have some hardware. We've got a bolt with lock washer and flat washer. We're going to line them up through the holes into the T-nuts and get them started. We don't want to tighten them down until we've got them all 3 lined up. All right, now before we tighten them down, again, make sure that it's pushed all the way up against the bed cap and it's slid all the way forward and touching the bulkhead up top, up at the front. And then what we're going to do is make sure we've got some down pressure on top of the adapter rail, and make sure it's also flush against your deck rail system. And we're going to go ahead and take a 1/2-inch wrench or ratchet and then tighten that down. All right, now that's locked in place, let's go ahead and tighten the other 2. And with this one here, I like to bear down, kind of back behind where it goes up next to where the tailgate is, and tighten that one down. All right, now what we're going to do before we install our rail to the accessory rail, what we're going to do is install our deck rail cleats back in. You're not going to be able to pull these back out once the rail is in, and once the rail is on, you're not going to be able to put them on. So we're going to go ahead and set them in place. I'm just going to snug them down real quick. All right, now we're going to locate our driver's side rail. Now up at the front, we're going to have some packing material that covers up our drain spout. And it's going to be able to hang on top of our bed cap like so. Now before I set this in place, I'm also going to go ahead and install our drain tube onto our drain cup. Just kind of fit that on just like so. So here's our clamp. I'm going to go ahead and take the bolt out of the clamp to take the clamp apart. Set the bolt down, and the part with the oval hole is what we're going to be working with. So if I take this rail and I rotate it up, you're going to see we've got a channel that's inside this rail. And now that channel is shaped the exact same way as the top side of this clamp. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide the clamp into the rail and snap it in place in 3 places. We want that clamp to line up right behind where our clamp is here, right behind where this clamp is here, and then right behind the deck rail system back here. So we're going to line them up like so. Basically push it in and snap it in place. We can still adjust it back and forth. The next one I've already taken apart. I'm going to go ahead and click that in place. And the third one, bring it right back here and click that one into place. Now we can go ahead and rotate it down, make sure that the rail is all the way forward. And I'm going to start with the center one, and I'm going to make sure that it is right off of where this bracket is. I'm going to take the other side of the clamp, I'm going to rotate this up and then fit that behind so that now this clamp is holding together the rail and also the accessory rail. We're going to be clamping all of that together. We're going to take our large bolt, set it back in place, and as we run it in, that bolt is probably going to start to hit the deck rail system. So what we're going to do is kind of rotate it up just a little bit to where the bolt can go back behind that deck rail and lock in place. We're going to take our 1/2 inch, also make sure that we've got this all the way up against the bulkhead before we tighten it down. All right, now we're going to go up to our front location. Again, we're going to be behind our clamp area, this bracket on the accessory rail, because we don't want the bolt to come through and actually hit that accessory rail bracket. So we want to go kind of in between, the bolt's going to go in between the deck rail spaces right here. So we're going to go ahead and fold this open and slide the clamp back to where everything lines up properly. And then we can line it up and install this bolt the exact same way. Run it in until it hits the deck rail system and kind of rotate it up. It goes inside the deck rail system and comes back down. And this one we're also going to bring to 10 foot-pounds. While we're getting this snugged up, you also want to make sure that this angle is set right up to the accessory rail so it's not tipping down or tipping up. All right, next we're going to go to the very end. Now this I want to put to where the bolt comes through and goes behind our deck rail system so it's not hitting anything that could obstruct it. I'm going to go ahead and rotate this up a little bit. Slide that behind. We'll go ahead and install our bolt. All right, now I'm holding this angle right up to the accessory rail. And go ahead and tighten this down, again, to 10 foot-pounds. All right, now up at the front, I'm gonna go ahead and install our deck rail end cap back in place. Now down here, I've already got a hole that's drilled into the bottom of the bed. It's at 5/8. I'm gonna just go ahead and take my drain tube and run it down the hole. If you need to drill a hole, make sure that if you're using like a 5/8 paddle bit, something like that, that you're very careful with the dust, because this is a composite bed. It does have fiberglass in it. You don't want to breathe that. Wear a dust mask if you kick up a lot of dust, and be real careful whenever you're vacuuming all that out. Repeat the same process on the opposite side. Okay, so this is the way the cover comes out of the box. Now I've got it upside down, so you're gonna see these little tracks that are right here, these little seed channels. We've got 2 more on the opposite side. Also, if I hold this up, you're gonna see we've got a rubber flap that's right here. That's our bulkhead seal that sits over top of the bulkhead seal that we have on top of the bulkhead behind the cab. So this, whenever it's done, is gonna flip over and sit up on top of the rails up at the front. Cab is gonna be on this side. So these channels are what we need to focus on right now, and this right here is our cover retaining clamp. That's what's going to be attached into these channels right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up the knob on the cover retaining clamp and push up. When I do, we're going to have a carriage bolt that pops up out of there. The square head on that carriage bolt is going to slide inside that channel, and that channel is going to capture it so that it cannot spin. Now, as I slide that in place, I also want to be mindful of this notch that's right here on the back side of the clamp. That needs to slide inside that channel as well, because that will hold that in place so it does not rotate back and forth. And then the jaw end over here that has a groove is going to face to the outside of the cover. So we're going to set that in place. I'm going to have it kind of as far back on that channel as possible. And I'm just going to snug it down. I don't need to tighten it down, just get it nice and snug, so that whenever we set it on top of the rails, it's ready to engage the rails. We're gonna do that with this one as well. All right, repeat the same on the opposite side, then we'll be ready to set it up on top of the bed caps. All right, next what we're gonna do is take our cover and set it up on top of the bed caps. Make sure our bulkhead seal on the cover is over top of our foam bulkhead seal that's adhered to the bulkhead. Make sure it's all the way over top. And then we'll also wanna center it side to side in the bed of the truck. All right, now once we get it where we want it, what we're going to do is one panel at a time. We're going to fold it back towards the tailgate, centering each panel as we go. All right, now this next panel down, once we get it centered, we're going to allow it to latch in place. Double check, make sure everything looks good, and it does. Pull back to the next panel. Now it is latching, so let me go ahead and check my engagement at the tailgate. What I'm going to do there is I'll raise up the cover, close the tailgate, bring that down, make sure I've got good engagement. It definitely looks like it needs to go forward a little bit. And that looks good, so let's go ahead and fasten it to the front. What we're going to do is very carefully fold this forward so we don't shift it out of alignment. Now the alignment is set. That way we can go underneath and attach it to the rails. So here we are underneath the cover. We're on the driver's side. This is our first cover retaining clamp. I'm going to go ahead and loosen it up. Allow the jaw side to drop down. I'm going to slide it over now. Keep in mind, you want to make sure that that notch stays planted inside this channel. We're going to slide that over. Now this groove on top of the jaw needs to capture the rail. So once all of that is kind of captured together, we're going to snug it down. We don't need to over tighten that, just get it nice and snug. Move back to the rear. Do the exact same thing back here. And once you get that one snugged down, go ahead and repeat the exact same process on the opposite side. Well, it's just that simple, and that concludes the installation.